Hey, Gab. What's going on, man?
I noticed you be doing that. Little elevator music, right? I was trying to do some jazzy stuff, man. Don't call me corny right now. I could have did something different. Gab is not a MGTOW. Gab is not a MGTOW, and Gab is not IBMOR. Gab knows very little about the subject, and this is why I have a guest, and this is why I am here to learn. And while we wait on our brother, I'm going to play something for you real quick. Hello, my IBMOR brothers, back again. Now, this video is going to have an odd title. In fact, it's going to be one of my rare MGTOW videos on this particular channel. If anybody has ever read or listened to Herman Melville's Bartleby the Scrivener, you kind of have an idea of where I'm going with this. Now, what does Bartleby the Scrivener and Alcoholics Anonymous have to do with each other? That leads to the explanation of what MGTOW is and also why MGTOWs complain about women. Now, this is in relation to a comment that Alan Roger Curry left on one of Obsidian's videos. And there was a back and forth, and we know Obsidian had a back and forth with Alan, and I interjected a little bit, and we were talking about the MGTOW movement or philosophy, or however it's been described over the numerous years, I think the last 4 or 5 years, how it has been described in various forms. And ARC actually mentioned that he actually agreed with some of the tenets of what MGTOW stood for. But he didn't understand why MGTOWs continuously complain about women or continue to tell their stories about women woes or comment on women. It's a fair question, but it's also something I kind of answered like 3 or 4 years ago in another video. I may link that in the description. Now, MGTOW as a philosophy, as a group, serves basically the same purpose as Alcoholics Anonymous. For men, not all, for men that have had issues with women and have had issues with the system, the gynocracy system that has surrounded us, that has formed over the last 50, 60 years, to the point where it's now being oppressive. And as with Alcoholics Anonymous and the function that it serves, nobody tells an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic that he shouldn't talk about his sobriety or alcohol continuously. In fact, that's part of the therapy or the magic of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a constant reminder of where you were and where you are now. And just like the theme of Alcoholics Anonymous is a very, very famous meme with MGTOW, very famous thing that mirrors exactly what Alcoholics and Alcoholics Anonymous say continuously. On Alcoholics Anonymous, they say you're one drink away from being an alcoholic again. In MGTOW, the famous meme that goes around, has been going around for the last 5 years, is that you're one blowjob away from being blue pill again, from being a blue pill beta again. Strange how eerily similar these two movements are. Alcoholics Anonymous is there to help alcoholics or help men get over their dependency and their addiction to alcohol and the negative reactions it causes in their lives. MGTOW men as a movement, as a philosophy, is there as a constant reminder of your addiction to women and the pain that addiction has caused you, and to remind you that you have to be ever vigilant within your soul and your psyche, that you don't fall back to your blue pill ways, lest you start the cycle all over again. Now, unlike Alcoholics Anonymous, that have you abstain from having alcohol or drinking alcohol. Under very few circumstances can a man or a MGTOW do that in the real world. If he's in the real world, he's got to interact with women, whether he's having sex with them or not. And by just like a alcoholic being in a bar constantly, the lure of alcohol will overwhelm him if he doesn't get away. The MGTOWs don't have that luxury of being able to completely cut women off from their lives. They don't have the constant pressure of the outside world or the blue pill world shaming them and actually trying to get them to engage back with the matrix. So the MGTOW philosophy, as a philosophy, tries to get you to walk that path to where you can actually but actually engage with women responsibly, so that you don't get caught up in the matrix, that you don't get caught back up in the gynocentric legal system that can actually do you damage. So you'll be able to navigate this gynocentric environment that you live in the West as safely as possible. And the constant MGTOW message and listening to a MGTOW video is like going to an AA meeting for an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic, to remind you that you are a recovering pussy beggar, as Stardust used to say. A MGTOW is a recovering pussy addict, a recovering female addict, a recovering beta trying to find his manhood. Now, while most MGTOWs still complain from time to time about women in their videos, the majority of that goes on is mostly from men that are newly entered into the AA, like the guy that doesn't have his first chip, that's still angry or still upset by having his illusions shattered. And a lot of the complaining that people get upset about on Reddit, on YouTube, and other places is that they see these guys that newly in that still haven't come to grips with the full MGTOW message and the lifestyle vent sometimes vehemently and sometimes uncouth language.
If you're just tuning in, I'm playing a video that is somewhat of an introduction to the subject matter that we're talking about, that we're going to be talking about, Brother BGS and I. I'm waiting for him to arrive. I'll finish playing the video and I'll chop it up with you until he arrives. And it may be that maybe he doesn't know I'm on Eastern Standard Time or something. But I'll sort this out. Thanks.
In a space where they're supposed to vent. And a lot of people that disagree with the message, that disagree with the philosophy, take that venting and take that message and then label it as complaining. And they label the whole philosophy or the whole movement as these group of guys that complain about women. They also just like they complain about the guys that have reached the level 4 that don't engage with women at all, the MGTOW monks. And they label these guys as crazy from abstaining or not wanting to be around women. Go figure. But to answer ARC's question, that's what's going on when you hear MGTOWs complain about women. It is that you have to have that constant reminder lest you fall back. Even if you have a 50-year chip, you're going to see an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, get on the stage, talk about his recovery, talk about his constant battle with the urge to drink alcohol, or the environment that's around him that urges him to drink alcohol. It never goes away, especially that what men go through when they have to withdraw or pull back from women is you're not fighting an addiction, you're fighting a biological urge. And the message has to be constantly in your ear and constantly in your head, such that you're constantly remind yourself of what happened to you, what could happen to you, and how you have to be on guard lest it will happen to you. But there's that. Now we're going to get to MGTOW as a political philosophy. That's where Bartleby the Scrivener comes in. The famous line from Bartleby the Scrivener, who was the ultimate refusenik. He refused to engage with the modern work life and the abuses that the new capitalist society was bringing upon him and the rest of the world. And at one point, he just got sick of it. And his answer to his employer at every stage was, "I would prefer not to." That was a famous line from Bartleby the Scrivener. And it has represented a lot of refusenik movements over the years. Gandhi's India, Martin Luther King's civil rights movement. It is personal and civil disobedience by not engaging at all. And MGTOWs have actually put that feeling or that spirit on their backs and said that rather than engaging with a system that abuses me or a group of women that abuse me, I simply would prefer not to. And it's not the complaining about women that get people. It's not the stuff that they say about women that get people. The underlying fact is that at the end of the day, what MGTOW represents is I would prefer not to. I would prefer not to contribute to a society in a manner that's going to be damaging to me. I would prefer not to engage in an environment that's unhealthy to me. I would prefer not to man up and marry a woman. I mean, there's other words I could actually use, that has 50 bodies on her vagina, even though that is what society is built on. The backs and the dead bodies of beta males, so-called beta males, that keep the society going. The plow horses of civilization. The plow horse that refuses the carrot that's in front of his nose and ignores the stick that's being whacked on the back of his back and his buttocks to get him to pull the plow, which is the message that women actually hear and the society and the government actually hear. And as in the story of Bartleby the Scrivener, even unto his very death, when his voice was so weak that it was barely a raspy whisper, he said, "I would prefer not to." That is the message of MGTOW. That is the dangerous part of MGTOW. If enough men listen to the message and say they would prefer not to take a shitty deal that society and women are actually giving them, what is going to happen to the structure of society? And even faced with the imminent collapse of society, if this philosophy goes forward and nothing is done to change the environment, what you'll probably hear MGTOWs do, sitting down, wrapped up, emaciated, in a raspy voice, you're going to hear every MGTOW say, "I would prefer not to." With that, that's all I got for today. This is BGS out.
Okay, fam, what you heard is what I believe is a quick introduction to what MGTOW is about. You are listening to me, who knows very little about MGTOW. The brother whom you just listened to goes by his page title is BGSIBMOR. And let me go to his main page. You'll find his link in my description box. And you can learn more about whatever you want from the brother, his page yourself. I invited the brother. This would be the second time. Last Friday he was on my show at the invitation of a good brother and fellow YouTuber and content creator of mine by the name of Loadcast. Y'all should look him up. I believe he's one of the moderators in the chat room. So subscribe to Brother Loadcast and support his channel. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me, support Brother Load's channel. I don't know what, I believe brother is on the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. And I told him EST time, but I don't know if he actually got that part of the message. I'll know in due time. If that is the case, I will adjourn really soon. But in the meantime, you heard that part of the message. Let me just say, like off the cuff, he's on Pacific time, fam. I got the word. He's on Pacific time. But he has been communicating with me via email. If anybody knows how to get in contact with him via phone, please do so that I may inform the audience that I got my time all messed up. If the time is all messed up, I do have someone else that I will be chopping it up with, who is also on the West Coast, and I'll make that known at another time, at the time when I find out Brother BGS is not coming. MGTOW, let me give you first impressions, though. The first impression was a very, very negative one. Very, very negative. In that the people who I hear talk about it at all are very, very negative towards Black women. And that just does not work for me and will not work. What I'm understanding, I think I was talking to somebody not too long ago, something about the concept is sort of, their impression of it was like a woman scorned, a woman who has been through the ringer with men that have not healed, have not gotten any satisfaction with respect to what they went through with men. And so you have a clan of brothers who have gone through the ringer, have not been able to see their children, have had to go to court, have had to go to jail when they were being and doing their best with respect to their female, and sometimes above and beyond. In many cases, a lot of men can relate. I know friends that have been through the ringer, sometimes very justly, rightly so. They should have went through the ringer. They were what are called deadbeats. But there were equally and maybe exceedingly in my group of friends, those who were doing absolutely what they should have and gone beyond and were more fit as parents and still had to suffer under the weight systemically in the court system. You know, they were under the weight of this world's, of the American court system. And it kept their foot on the necks, backs, on the head of our brothers. And some brothers have literally never recovered. And the Black woman will be every word, every negative description that you can find. There's a price to pay for helping to make somebody mentally unstable who were trying to do the right thing. There's a price to pay for that. And I believe that price is MGTOW. The frightening thing about MGTOW is that it looks like and sounds like these brothers can't wait to make sisters suffer. And I want somebody to dive in. I need to be educated by subject matter experts. So when I heard this brother on my channel, something rings like, it sounds like a subject matter expert. As I email him again to see if we got our times wrong, because I got a feeling we did. I'll look at the chat to see who else knows something about this thing we call MGTOW. As I state again, I'll state it again. There are some very, very angry brothers out there, and many cases rightly so. But have they taken it to levels that are beyond what it is that I think they should have? Maybe so. Maybe so. But I'm here to learn more. And guess what? Our brother BGS, I can hear him in the background. I believe he has just shown up. Brother BGS, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Absolutely. Good to have you on, brother.
All right.
To educate my myself along with the audience. And I know you don't read the chat. I'll be trying to keep up with the chat, brother. I'm still an amateur. I've been at this for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still an amateur as far as watching the chat room and what everybody's saying, but I'm going to do my best to do that. Give me one quick second. Get back over to my chat. Where'd it go?
That's why I don't read the chat during the Hangouts.
Yeah, because it make you pause.
Well, because if you're talking to somebody, you can't have two conversations at the same time.
You really can't. I have to admit that. I'll try and grab a question or two every now and again. Here we go. All right. Okay, brother. Let's get into it. You laid the foundation, and before you came in, the video that you shared with me as a somewhat of an introduction to MGTOW was pretty good. I played that for the audience. If it was not cool with you, I will definitely edit that out.
No, that's fine.
Thank you. I didn't think you would have a problem, because this is has become part of your mission. Am I correct?
Talking about MGTOW? No.
To explain, to know the difference between MGTOW, IBMOR. You explain this yourself. You can introduce yourself to the audience, whatever sites, whatever channels, whatever social media sites that you want them to point them to. You do that and kind of just let us know who Brother BGS is. Even let us know what those initials are.
Oh, well, it's BGS actually comes from my MGTOW channel, which is Black Gnostic Speaks. And I call myself Black Gnostic because that is my peculiar type of religion, which is mixing esoteric religions like Masonry, Kabbalah, and those kind of esoteric religions, along with Menphite theology, which is a Egyptian-based religion mixed in with esoteric philosophy.
Okay, is that
So
where you go ahead? Go ahead.
I think there's a couple of rappers that have become Black Gnostics, which is a peculiar brand of. It's not. It's really not. It's not Masonic, even though it actually derives some of it from Masonry, some from esoteric Judaism, even some from esoteric what is it, Taoism, which is all esoteric religions kind of share the same kind of fundamental base. And guess a Black Gnosticism basically means hidden. So all the hidden wisdom that has been acquired over the last 10,000 years is kind of congealed into this thing we call Black Gnosticism.
And how long have you been studying?
Since 1994.
Oh man, that's a long time, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't even know something was out like that way back when, man. I felt like it was only Christians and Muslims at that time.
It's like the Gnostic temples. You can only if you seek them, then it's the only way you can actually find them. They don't advertise.
Okay.
My teacher didn't advertise. I found him by accident.
Absolutely. And one day we'll be talking about that, I'm sure. But I want to stay on topic. So Black Gnostics, before you were that, and this just helps the people know who you are. Before you were that, what were you doing?
And I was raised as Christian.
Okay,
Baptist
like
Christian.
everybody else.
Like everybody else. But it didn't, Christianity didn't give me the answers that I needed. So I needed something else. So I needed to go further. Like
everybody else, right? Yeah. Okay, and then you sought that out on your own. Your parents didn't point you to the Gnosticism.
No, they would never have.
Right. Okay. You call yourself BGSIBMOR. So we got the Black Gnostics and the S's for
the Black BGS Black Gnostic Speaks.
Okay.
Which is my MGTOW channel that's still up. I don't really put content on anymore, but that's my original MGTOW channel, which has maybe, I think it's 100 videos on it, maybe a little bit more.
Okay. And people you got good content on there with respect to MGTOW?
Oh yeah. That's all pure MGTOW. Because MGTOW in the beginning was more about knowledge seeking. It wasn't designed there to be anti-woman or anti-establishment. It was more to be about how men and women relate, and about being men throughout the ages, and how the society actually formed to where we are now. So a lot of MGTOWs were about going deeper than just politics. A lot of MRAs just go with politics and trying to change laws. MGTOW is more about it. Originally, it was more about knowledge seeking. Still is, if you actually find the certain videos. Okay,
so you used the word originally. What is and for the audience, MGTOW, the MGTOW stands for men going their own way.
Right.
So just so that you guys know that, and we'll get into what the IBMOR is shortly. So just hang on before we even define that. We're going to deal with MGTOW since it has its history before the IBMOR. I learned this from brother last Friday. So I hear you say it originally did not was not kind of anti-woman. It was more so knowledge seeking. And you explained that this is an ideology, not really or it's not an organization.
No.
Would you consider it a movement?
Some people would. Some people really want it to be. I think now it might be morphing into a movement because you have what they call MGTOW evangelists. In the beginning, there really were no MGTOW evangelists. Okay, it wasn't about spreading the word MGTOW. In fact, there was big debates about whether MGTOW should be made public, or we should actually show ourselves, or we should actually try to get other people in, persuade other people to be MGTOW. In the very beginning, for I say the first 3 or 4 years, you had to find it, and there was a certain ways people actually found MGTOW. MGTOW wasn't something that that people actually recruited you into. You had to actually go through steps to actually find out what MGTOW actually was.
Okay. Wow.
And it was a big debate of whether it should be MGTOW should be actually be out in the public because MGTOW was as an ideology or as a ideology was always hated and feared. Even when it was only like 50 to 100 people, it was always hated and feared.
Wow, hated and feared. So I'm gonna deal with some of your words. Okay, so we're still. I don't want to get away from the originally. It was anti-woman because this is some of the stuff like I've been hearing. Brother, I'm totally ignorant. I'm dead serious. The most I've heard about it was, I believe, maybe some Obsidian radio show, something around folks around that circle. Was actually my first time hearing it. I heard something of it on Nyla Says. She spoke about it, that and these terms, red pill and blue pill. And if you would, I'm going to have you kind of touch some of this in the amount of time that we have. I'm not sure how long you have, but we'll just see how it goes. So it was originally anti-woman. Would you say that
it was never anti-woman?
Okay, it was never anti-woman.
No, it was anti, what they call anti-gynocentric, which is mean the gynocentric policies that were passed or they were actually imposed upon men as far as marriage, family courts, child support, that kind of stuff. It was anti-establishment or anti-gynocentric policy.
Okay, anti the policies that govern govern the relationship between a man and a woman.
Right.
Okay, so like before you came on, I was talking about how some men, because right in your video that you shared, some men have been through the ringer and are going through the ringer unjustly. And it sounds like this movement is born from the pain of that experience, and brothers and not just brothers, but men, right? Have band together to do something about it.
Originally, it was just so people can actually share their stories, because most of the people that originally, I can't speak for now because I haven't kept up with it with the new guys coming in as much. You see, you have younger men coming in, and they have a slightly different take because of what they heard. Because now MGTOW is actually how can I say, a more popular, a more known, that's for lack of a better term, more known term than it was back then. Okay. Originally, it was so that men could come together and share their pain about relationships.
Sort of like therapy.
So like Alcoholics Anonymous, like therapy.
Okay. Were there considered professionals like real therapists a part of that process?
No. How much can you do online sharing videos?
But I mean, like in a city, like if there was a city, and did they have, like, Alcohol Anonymous, you actually have people that go through training.
Yeah, but no, it's because it's not an organization. So no.
Okay.
So in other words, knowing that somebody, if you share your pain and hear somebody else's story that's similar to yours, that's therapy without the therapist.
I got you. I got you. So just sharing.
Sharing, yeah.
It's like you said. Okay. I won't move away from that. So as it develops, have they started to incorporate like people that are skilled in psychology, or has
There,
it?
I haven't heard. Well, they don't suggest. They don't actually point to anybody because most guys still want to be in the shadows because it's still an unpopular term.
Okay.
I mean, you have some people that have come out, and there are people, there are therapists and people that have done it that have actually made videos. Like Paul Elam, before he didn't used to embrace it, but the thing is now that he's kind of embraced it more. He brings on therapists, he brings on authors, he brings on a whole bunch of other people that actually come in and actually talk about it. So, yeah, there are therapists and psychologists, and there's quite a few. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He was in. There's a couple of them that are in Australia that actually deal with men's therapy and men's pain. You have a lot of guys like that, but they don't actually share their names. It's not something that they would announce. I'm a MGTOW, I'm a therapist, or I'm a counselor. They wouldn't do that, but they actually use the some of the lessons and some of the experiences that have been shared by other people actually to help other folks.
Okay.
So that's been there since I think 2014 to around 13. You have a lot of people that are therapists that actually come in and use this stuff to help men.
Okay. In your assessment today,
Mm-hmm.
the MGTOW movement is something that you would say is a good well, not movement. I don't want to like mislabel it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say it's a good organization? Not organization. It's a good ideology for men.
It's still formulating, and I think I'll put it this way: MGTOW is actually a reaction to what men think is the unjust laws and penalties that have been put upon them over the last 50 years. So it's a reaction. So it's a reactionary ideology because the
Okay.
MRAs have been beaten down over the last 30 years. They haven't really moved the needle. And basically, if you ever notice that the gynocentric policies like Me Too and yes means yes, no means no, violence against women, all those things actually got worse. Okay, so you have a splinter group that says, look, we know we agree with it that you're trying to change the laws. We agree with that you're trying to do this, that, and the other, right? Because you got tons of MRIs that have been doing this. But the thing is, you're not doing it's not working. It's not working. They're not listening to you. And if they're not listening to you, that means it's only going to get worse because basically they don't care about men's pain. They don't care about what men have to go through. They care about the women and the children, which is fine. The thing is, what do you do with the men? You're not giving the men anything to actually hold on to. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a group of men, or one man is going to say, you know what? I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm a man going my own way. You had two guys that said, we're not taking this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get married. We're not going to have kids because it's an unfair deal. And this is why. It started with two guys, and they actually was Barbarossa and Stardust.
Those are the people.
Barbarossa and Stardust. And they actually started using the moniker MGTOW in their videos. And people started started listening to them. And then a lot of people have the same gateway. They hear Tom Likas,
mm-hmm.
and then they find Paul Elam, and then MGTOW pops up. So you go from soft to a little harder to MGTOW. The MGTOW is the reactionary group. That's why in the beginning, that's how the 90% of MGTOWs found their way through Tom Likas and then Paul Elam. And then MGTOW popped up, and it said, in other words, I went through the same thing that he's talking about. I feel the same way that he feels.
Okay, and are you speaking when you say I? Are you speaking for yourself or
I'm
them?
speaking for myself. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. This is after having 3 children, and I got 3 grandchildren, and I had enough. And I said, I found MGTOW. I said, this is exactly how I feel.
And when you said you had enough, you mean you went through it personally, and then did you watch your kids go through it too?
I watched my son kind of, well, not my son kind of go through it, but people around me, your coworkers, man. You had coworkers whose lives were ruined. You had people that had been sleeping in the car. Just tons and tons of people. You had people that are even afraid to that have been assaulted by their girlfriends or their wives because they're afraid of the cops coming in and hauling them off to jail.
Yeah.
So I know guys that have been court raped as far as alimony and child support. And I've heard it all.
Right. And I heard you say that this movement, that this ideology was to challenge courts, the court system, not necessarily the woman, but of course, with all of the pain and hurt, the ideology is not going to be friendly to the female in this situation. And I want to make it clear for the audience that this ideology was not formulated by Black people, right? This was Barbarossa and Stardust.
Barbarossa is actually Black.
Okay, he is Black.
He's Dominican, so he's actually Black.
Okay, Dominican and Stardust.
Yeah, he's white.
He's white. So these are the two. Would you say these are the originators?
1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay. And then we got into Paul Lehman and
Paul Elam was actually MRA, but I wouldn't say that he's MGTOW because he vehemently disagreed with MGTOW when it first started.
Okay, and MRA stands for what?
Men's rights activists.
Okay, and is that still active?
Oh yeah. The Red Pill movie was more about the men's rights activists. It really wasn't about MGTOW. MGTOW is kind of an offshoot, but the Red Pill movie was about men's rights activists.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't seen that. Is that something that's available on YouTube?
I don't think it might be available on YouTube as a bootleg, but
it's something. It's a DVD that can be purchased or ordered.
Yeah, you could probably find it like on Vimeo or Amazon, something like this. It's around.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know that site. Okay, no, this is good stuff. So so here's what I have. 2012, couple guys got fed up and started this ideology, and it gained traction, I guess, because it was so prevalent in society. So Blacks started to there was a Dominican at the origin of it, but brothers, was it first by and large more whites? And then brothers got
no, it's pretty
mixed.
When I first started, it was pretty mixed. Even when I started, you had even some guys that were married that couldn't carry the MGTOW moniker because they were married, but they agreed with the ideology. And they had two brothers, three or four brothers. Paul Proteus is one. I used to follow him. He's Black in Canada. Straight Shooter, he was married. He's another one. And there was a couple of more. So Black men have been in it, since I've known it.
Okay. Do these let's talk straight talk. Do these brothers hate women? Do you hate women, brother?
Do I hate women? I got 2 daughters.
No, but do you hate women? I know you don't hate your daughters. No. Maybe. Okay.
And where does it? I don't know where that comes from.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna tell you where I got it. Why I think like that. I was in a chat and I might got it all wrong because I don't know if Obsidian Radio is a part of the MGTOW movement or not. No. Okay, so they're not. Are they IBMOR?
Some of them are. I think some of them are. I don't know how many of them are.
Okay, there is some chatter that's following close behind this ideology that I've seen on YouTube that sounds really hateful.
Like what?
Really fed up.
Give it to me. What is it?
Oh, okay. Like they call women like all kinds of bitches, and we tired of the bitches, and like they was cussing me out in Obsidian's chat room. Since
Do they have to be? Have you heard brothers that aren't MGTOW say the same thing?
probably so, and that's what I'm trying to sort out real
Mhm.
quick because
Do they?
I'm
Even the women, even the men that say that they say tired of bitches and all that kind of stuff. Do they still date and they have probably have wives? Do they not?
yes.
Yes, that is men.
All
That's
right.
where men. That's where men
So,
talk.
but is that prevalent in? It's just what you're saying is it's
It's
just as prevalent in the ideology as it
it's
is outside.
outside. Yes.
All right, I won't argue. I know folks want me to argue with that,
They,
but I'm not.
uh,
I'm
well,
okay.
what I'm saying is, if folks want to argue, Barbarossa's original videos going back since late 2011 are still up.
Yeah,
You go look. I mean, people argue about what it is instead of going on YouTube and finding out for themselves. Stuff is still there.
right. People in the chat, yes, please keep ignorant talk out of the chat. I'm not dealing with that hoes and shit in my not tonight. I don't feel like
Yeah.
it.
If MGTOWs or IBMORs are out there, y'all chill out, okay?
Yeah. All
Y'all
right. So
chill out.
thanks, man. So
If I are you aware that I have a women's channel?
I'm not
Okay, so if I hate women, why do I have a women's channel?
right. Right. I'm not yeah, I don't know that you hate women. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the whole movement, this MGTOW, everything
Mm-hmm.
I hear about it is like it's probably from a third party who's not a part of the ideology. Who
First it was the MRAs that hated MGTOW, then it was the feminists. Okay. And then when IBMOR popping up, and then it was the black feminists, and then it was black women. It's because MGTOW basically turns what we think of as the relationship between men and women on its head. They don't like it.
right. Mm, this is deep. This is deep,
That
bro.
I just heard Nicole Michelle said you shouldn't be MGTOW unless you want to be gay.
Yeah, that's another part to this
Mm-hmm.
that we kind of talked about it last weekend
Mm-hmm.
when I said it sounds like something that somebody who wasn't interested in women would be interested in, like some kind of safe haven for,
Let's
for
get, let's get this out of the way real quick because we
okay,
keep going through this. Women, MGTOWs don't want to be around women. MGTOWs hate women. MGTOWs don't date. You got
okay,
basically you have basically four, we call four levels. They call it four levels because there was a big debate about that of where the MGTOW should date, see women, all that kind of stuff right at the very beginning. They came with the four levels.
hmm
Okay, one is basically they call them purple pill. Basically, you're halfway in and halfway out.
hmm
Okay, you may or may not uh, have a steady girlfriend. You may or may not cohabitate, but you won't have children and you won't get married. Second level is you still date, still might have a regular girlfriend, but you will not cohabitate. You will not get married, and you will not have children. Third level is um, you don't have a steady girlfriend. You still have sex with women. You might date occasionally. You might even have a rotation.
okay,
Okay. Now the fourth level, which is MGTOW monks, which is there's a big debate about the MGTOW monks, which I am one of them, is we basically as far as intimately we don't deal with women. It's
okay,
easier for me because I'm damn near 60 years old.
okay,
When suggested for a 20-year-old.
right, right. So do you find, I'll say you and then we can go to they,
Mm-hmm.
do you find anything in that ideology that may be destructive of a cohesive society
Sure.
that you do? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Would you kind of cover that?
If men don't have if men refuse to support families and children, what do you think is going to happen to society?
It's going to break down.
It's going to break down.
Yeah, it'll break down. Okay. And you said that like really quickly and calmly. So with that being a, you know, maybe a downside to it, is there anything in it that equals it that out?
Yeah, you can basically if people or if enough men get together and says we don't like the system as it is, and basically the system can either we're gonna go on strike because there's been books about men on strike. The system can either go to hell or you can actually help us reform the system to where we will actually get some benefit out of it for a change.
Okay, so fair system.
Fair system.
So if we get a fair system, we can correct the ills between men and women.
If you get a fair system, the ideology dies.
The ideology dies. If it doesn't, then the ideology lives, and we have a group of men who are going to continue to feel this way.
Can you start a forest fire with green grass?
No.
No, we have to have dry grass, right?
Right.
So in other words, if once a fire spark starts, the fire starts, what do you have to get rid of?
Right.
Get rid of dry grass. You got to find something to put the fire out. Okay. Have in this society, have we done that?
No, I don't think it's fixed, brother.
If it doesn't get fixed, that's what's going to keep happening. When I first discovered MGTOW, there was probably less than 100 people. I'm talking about worldwide, less than 100 people. Wow. Okay, you probably got 100,000 now, and growing. And every time I always tell people that says MGTOWs are gay or MGTOWs or this, that, and the other, disparagingly, what you're doing is actually spreading the name. You spread the name, people are going to get curious. Okay. And everybody doesn't have to become MGTOW or even agree with it. But the thing is, the ideology will spread.
Okay. Just
like it's spreading now.
Yeah, through doing these interviews.
Doing interviews, but the thing is, people being curious about it because now it's become a problem. It was been a problem for white people. Now it's becoming a problem for black folks. I hear black women actually mentioning it because it's a problem now.
Okay.
Before it wasn't a problem. Now it is.
Okay, so let's move on to some of the offshoots from MGTOW. Now, if you would. I'm gonna throw some terms out here, and you puzzle them together for me. Red pill, blue pill, IBMOR. How?
Red pill. Did you see the movie The Matrix?
Yes.
That's where it comes from. Red pill. What is the red pill?
The truth.
The truth. Okay. What is the blue pill?
The world as it is.
The world as it is, or the world that's in front of your eyes. The world that has
the Matrix.
The Matrix, right? As it is constructed, right? That's blue pill. Red pill is what? You see it as it is, right?
Okay.
So in other words, once you take the red pill, you see male and female relationships, marriage, and everything exactly as it is, not as you have been told it was.
Okay.
Because everybody has been told that marriage is sacred, family is sacred, it's been ordained by God, and it's not a contract or a construct, which in reality it is. It's a construct. It's a construct for a very good reason, but a construct it is.
I would agree with that. In MGTOW or in IBMOR or whatever, this is non-religious based. You don't have to be anything. The common bond is that you have a problem with the way the system has treated men with respect to women.
Yeah, and IBMOR especially, IBMOR it kind of expands it a little bit, not just how black men have been treated with respect to women, but how black men have been treated in the society, period.
Before you move forward, what is IBMOR for the family watching?
Introspective Black Men of Reform.
Introspective Black Men of Reform. Gotcha.
Started by Adagon Forrest. Now, if you want to hear somebody radical, as far as women is concerned, go to Adagon Forrest. Then you will really hear he's a little bit more radical than I am. In fact, a lot more.
Meaning radical in
about women, yeah.
So so some of the rhetoric, a lot of the rhetoric about women is born from this person.
Yeah, a lot of it is born from this person, and but that's his personal thing.
Is this a brother?
It's brother, yeah.
Wow.
And he was
Okay.
actually much more moderate when he first started, but I don't know whether he's having issues with women, but he's really in red pill rage.
He started IBMOR.
He started it more because a lot of the issues that coming from a black perspective wasn't being addressed.
Okay.
So a lot of there's about 4 guys that were making MGTOW content for black men that he said that we should start our own thing. So he started the acronym IBMOR that he decided upon. He said we should come over and actually use that as a moniker and make content for that. So I went from making content on my Black Gnostics page and started making content on my IBMOR page.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Does anything about, because we're gonna stay on IBMOR because I want you to say why he started this. But is there anything about in your assessment that needs to stop?
A lot of IBMORs most IBMORs have gotten out of the red pill rage. There's a few that are still in it, but most of it is I think that I agree with the MGTOWs as far as not trying to persuade people to be something. Okay. That's one thing that the MGTOWs have been very good about. Now, if you come for their neck, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna come like a swarm of killer bees.
Explain what you mean by that, and don't try to persuade someone to be.
In other words, they don't. Very few. They'll actually say why they're MGTOW. All right, said I don't deal with women, or I don't think we should deal with women like this. I get those comments in my IBMOR channel all the time, but they don't actually go out and try to recruit people. You should be MGTOW or anything like that. Very few MGTOWs actually go out and recruit.
Oh, okay. So they're not out there. Yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, whereas I think the IBMORs, or say even some of the offshoots of the IBMORs, kind of go out there and recruit. And I think IBMOR, just like MGTOW, the guys that really need it should find it on their own.
Okay, and so you see the spreading of this as unhealthy.
I see is that I see as press. I see that I don't want it to become like a religion.
Okay.
Because that's not what it was about. And you have a lot of proselytizing where you actually go out and try to promote your ideas on other people that don't want it.
So yeah, it is somewhat, yeah, because the little bit that I hear people talk about, even I feel like there's a sub understanding about MGTOW, even if it's not called MGTOW, where it sounds just like this, and it has that religious sound to it, brother.
If you've studied any movement can become a religion or like
right.
Because basically all movements have a religious undertone or a prophetic undertone. Okay. Yeah. So I don't care whether it's conservative, liberal, whether it's Republican, Democrat, it's going to have that undertone because that's how people operate in their beliefs. If they believe something, it's a belief.
Right. This is good. I appreciate it too. So move right on into IBMOR. We got blue pill, red pill out of the way. We got MGTOW to a I think a first, second grade understanding for me. Or is it higher than that?
It depends how deep you actually want to go, because MGTOW goes into the family structure, it goes into marriage, it goes into stats, it goes into culture, it goes into a lot of things. I actually delved way deeper on my Black Gnostic Speech channel about culture, about stats, about feminism, that kind of stuff. So it kind of does a deeper understanding. It goes into the psyche of people, male and female. So it really goes, depends on how deep you actually want to go.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, so it's a whole lot that I could learn if I asked all of the questions, I guess. And maybe another day for some of that. But right now, I think my understanding is that we have men that need to be taken care of psychologically and in the system, and their families need to be repaired. They need to be reunited with their children. All sorts of things that have come out of a sense of males being conquered by the system that has been weaponized by the mate that they were with.
It's a little deeper than that.
Okay.
I could take a few minutes to actually do it. I actually went through this on my series called Feminized America, because I read several books, or more than several books, about the beginning of second wave feminism, not necessarily the movement, but the policies. Okay. And the stuff that was going on at the time, and a few other things, actually in more detail. I think they were like 15 minutes a piece. So it was like maybe 45 minutes to an hour of content where I actually piece these things together. But there was to actually talk about this, there was actually during the civil rights movement, they wanted to assimilate black folks right after World War II, because they needed to build a cohesive society, because the United States inherited the rest of the globe. So basically, to actually administer the rest of the globe, they had to create a cohesive society. You can't fight. You can't actually rule in fact, they said, what's his name? Robert Greenlee said that in Spooky the Set by the Door. You can't, if you have dissension inside, you can't rule the rest of the world. Okay. And he said that in 1968. So basically, what happened? You had the civil rights protest had civil rights protests throughout the 60s, and in 1968, you also had the anti-war protests growing from 1967 to like 1970. So you had the black folks that they were trying to tamp down, and then in the anti-war protests, you had a group of white men they're trying to tamp down. And the biggest factor is that the baby boomers were and probably still is the largest group of males that have ever been born in the society. And if you understand demographics, the ages between 15 and 45 are what they call arms-bearing years. Okay. In other words, if a society is going to be overturned, it's overturned by the men. And if you have a large group of men that you cannot control, especially larger than everybody else, like 2 to 1, baby boomers like 2 to 1 at the time. Okay. If you can't get control of them, they will either alter or actually overturn your society. And guess that's not in the interest of whom? The people that actually run it.
Right.
So what they decided to do, after they kind of tamped down the black folks, they need to tamp down the white folks. They said to actually not have this happen anymore, they passed 2 bills. They call it Title 10, which was Planned Parenthood, legalizing abortion and other such rights, and Title 9.
Right.
Those 2 things actually are the actually linchpins of second wave feminism. As far as getting women's jobs, sexual harassment, female education, and also giving women the free. Along with that came what? No fault divorce, child support. All that stuff came in under Title 10 and Title 9. The whole between 1969 and I would say 1980, all those laws all strung together. Title 9 was actually a educational bill. Okay. Because they needed to re-educate or re-socialize the males. So basically, it was all children, especially after 1972, got taught a feminist education. And it was actually not regurgitated, but actually perfected over, I said, the period of like 10 to 15 years. So most Gen Xers and especially millennials have a feminist ideology. The thing. So basically, they want to tamp down the males and basically raise up the females. So basically, they want to make boys more feminized,
Yeah.
and make females more masculine.
Understood.
And that's through the educational process. So everything that you see as far as commercials, movies, TV, what happens in the classroom is all actually geared around Title IX. In fact, the yes means yes, no means no, all that kind of stuff is actually distributed through, especially through the school system first, through Title IX, and it actually works its way out into the general population as far as sexual harassment, affirmative action, all that kind of stuff is actually filtered through Title IX and then out to the rest of the world. So basically, what you have is, and a lot of guys don't like to agree with this, you have a lot of feminized males.
Yeah. No, this is true. Have you ever read the book by Dr. Wesley Muhammad, The Effeminization of the Black Male?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's a good book. And I'm gonna ask you about books for the audience after a while.
Mm-hmm.
But if you move on until you're finished with this, and then we're gonna get right back into IBMOR.
Mm-hmm. So basically, with MGTOW, what IBMOR and MGTOW basically tries to do is basically correct what the feminists or the educational process actually did to males, because before the I would say the 1960s, it was agreed that any policies you put should actually conform to what they call gender norms or sexual norms. In other words, male and females are not equal, and basically their duties or their roles should be correlated with their natural biology. Okay. What feminism, second wave feminism, decided to do was basically reverse that. So now they wanted men to get into their feelings, act more feminine, be more supportive,
Mm-hmm.
and want females to be more aggressive, more dominant,
Mm-hmm.
and take leadership roles, which you hear all the time. Let the women lead, girl power, all that kind of stuff is gearing the women to be more dominant. To want more women in STEM, more women as CEOs, basically children and family were actually, in the very beginning, were actually poo-pooed. That you were a sexual and female slave if you actually were a housewife or you're a wife, something like that. They were, so basically they poo-pooed that, and basically their ideology has filtered down into the women. And so now you have men that have been taught that being assertive, being aggressive, being in a leadership role was not what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be egalitarian. You're supposed to be willing to let your wife lead or let your girlfriend lead,
Right.
and basically subjugate yourself to female, I say, authority.
Right. No, this is I don't know, it makes some good sense. I do understand that there's a more radical side to this, and you actually admit
Mm-hmm.
to it, and so
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
arguments.
And the thing is, what people think is just happened by accident. No, it's by design. And they tell, in the literature, they tell you it's by design, and how they were going to design it. Everything. If you read the book More Than Title IX, they will tell you exactly what programs they put in and the outcomes they actually wanted. The thing is, the problem is that it does not work with male and female biology.
You know, this fits everything that I believe, even on the religious side,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of killing the male and sparing the female. You know, destroying the male and everything that the male represents.
Mm-hmm. And guess who's not happy with it more than the men?
The female.
The female.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Nature's out of order.
Nature's out of order. The
Got
females
you.
don't like it. Yeah.
I got you.
Because now they have to bear responsibility, and they're not used to it. That's not that's really not in their nature to do that.
Man, this is heavy. IBMOR, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they break out from MGTOW and create IBMOR?
Because MGTOW is majority white, just like this country.
All right.
And basically, even liberals do not like to hear black male talk, especially when it's aimed at them.
Oh, because it's still their system.
Because it's still their system.
So and when they broke it out, it just they broke away because of that. What
Because
you
of
just
that.
said.
Yeah.
Okay, but the same tenets. It's pretty much the same tenets, but evidently they had some experiences that showed that black men would not be really supported in some way.
No,
So
what happened is, well, I can only speak for me.
Okay.
When I started, because I think I was like IBMOR like number 3. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're the part of the genesis, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It was Atagon Forest, and it was Truth Quad 40. And Truth Quad 40 said we need to make. He said you need to bring your MGTOW content over to IBMOR. I said okay. So I was like IBMOR number 3.
Do you write? What's your background? You sound like a journalist, bro?
No, I'm not a journalist. Basically, I was doing this online since 2003 or something like that, and basically all I did when I came to YouTube was basically kind of replicate what I was doing online anyway. So
okay. So we already know, and like you said, by your own admission, there are some things that are not going to be good for society if this thing if the system does not repair itself. They're going to this will exist.
Yeah, it's going to get worse,
Yeah.
and it will get worse. It doesn't. Basically all MGTOW did was basically show you where the cracks already were, and basically gives the people that are already feeling that way something to actually get behind.
Now, how dangerous is this?
You're already seeing it. Look at the fertility rate amongst even black folks. For white folks, I think they list it as 1.5, but the thing is probably more like 1.3 or 1.2, which is closer to Europe. So you're not replacing yourselves, number one. So the government's not happy about that.
All right. So you assign the reasons for that mainly because men are walking away.
Well, yeah. Men are walking away, and men are afraid of what? Men, if you see how many guys you need to see sleeping in their car because of child support or alimony before you get scared.
Okay.
Is it one?
But what I'm saying is
10. How many?
What I'm saying is that the study, the numbers that you're talking about, there are other factors as to probably why people are having smaller families. A lot of them being financial, right?
Finance.
The number one reason, and you correct me if I'm wrong too.
Okay, the number one reason is basically would be women's rights, pretty much, because
for divorces.
Well, divorces is one, but the thing is, there's the number one factor is basically women being educated and women not getting married early. They're getting married later because they have a career. If you get married later, they have a career, and I tell women this all the time: why it's better to get married early, because everything's on your side before 30. After 30, then it switches. Okay, but before 30, I would say before 30, men's testosterone is very, very high. They have a very, very high sex drive, so they're much, much more pliable, much more agreeable before 30. When testosterone, if you wait till after 30, the closer you get to 35, the chances that man will get married go way, 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 way down. Way, way, way down. You can see it plummet because you don't have a reason to.
Okay.
The majority, the vast majority of men do not get married to have children and family. They get married for sex.
Okay. Okay.
Sex is a big influence on marriage and children for men.
Okay. And but what you're saying is it's disconnected from the actual purpose of raising families.
Yeah. In other words,
and that's not a good, you agreed that that's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing for society.
Right.
No.
Okay. And so, how does the IBMOR and MGTOW address that part of it? The fact that that's not good.
That it's not good. They know it's not good. They don't address it. They know it's not good. Some men hope that it gets better before the system crashes, and got the other half to say the hell with it, let it crash. So it depends.
So some are there to say, hey, we're gonna bring it down.
I'm saying we don't have to bring it down, but we guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna ride this sucker in.
Okay. Okay. And then there are some that's saying, let's save this, or let's like where are the factors that are trying to stop what's going on?
You talking about MGTOWs? MGTOWs don't try. They're not the reason they wouldn't be MGTOWs if they're trying to stop it.
So there we go. So the purpose is to bring this thing to make it so bad where it has to change.
It has to change. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Or believe it or not, I'm not arguing with that. You know,
well, that's the purpose of it. In other words, like I said, Bartleby described, I prefer not to. If this is the deal that I'm going to get, guess what? I prefer not to. I'd rather die alone. I'd rather waste away.
Okay. Now, how dangerous is this for the actual female, the actual woman, violence wise?
None. Mostly none. They're not violent. If you're not interacting with women, how dangerous are you to women?
No, but if you just there's no, I ain't gonna say no, because you kind of explain that the same ailments and crazy people out here there's some in there too.
A lot of your MGTOWs say that the crazy dudes that actually go off should have actually come to MGTOW, so you actually get that rage out of you. We actually talk it out of you. In other words, let it out with us.
Okay.
In other words, don't go shooting up the family. Don't go shooting up your wife. Don't go shooting up your kids. Don't go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
10 or 15 women. Come to the circle. Tell your story so other people can share their story with you, and let that rage come out verbally rather than physically.
So that's in the benefits column.
That's therapeutic for men. Basically, why get locked up? Why go to jail? Why lose your life? Why lose what little you have left in rage, actually lashing out at a system that you can't change?
Right. Wow. Okay. So I see that as one of the potential benefits of it. Is they have somewhere to go and brotherhood up, so that they're not destructive to themselves or other people.
Other people, yeah. MGTOWs don't. I mean, most MGTOWs, even IBMORs, are not about. It's about self. It's not about MGTOWs try to get you out of blaming other people. Okay, go your own way means just that. Do you?
Okay.
In other words, if you don't think the system is fair, do you?
Okay.
Don't get in that contract. Don't cohabitate with a woman that may or may not be your girlfriend.
Okay.
You basically understand female nature. She's doing what she's gonna do. If she's gonna ridicule you, call you names, whatever you're gonna do, that's a woman. Okay. If you see that behavior, disengage and go your own way. Don't even bother with her. Disengage. If she's if she's on, I don't want to get married and I'm gonna slash your tires. You know what? Tell her, look what, I'm a MGTOW baby. You ain't gotta do all that. Go find your blue pill beta, as we call him. Go find your blue pill guy, get married, have kids. I'm not your guy. I'm gonna go this way. I'm about me. I'm not about what's in your head.
Right. Mm. So when you were young, were you a lot more radical? Because I'm 50 myself now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just a lot more refined and calmed down quite a bit in
Mm-hmm.
terms of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, are would you were you when you were young in the 90s, like you were talking about? Were you pretty radical with this understanding?
As far as radical, as far as what?
As far as I guess I don't know. Speech is the only thing I know right now. I haven't seen any violence spring from this movement. I don't know of anything that's
Well, when this was when I was coming, I had I had to go deal with the kids. I had to deal with the ex. I had to deal with child. I had to deal with all that kind of crap. With the families. Back and forth with the families and stuff like that. So I had children.
Yeah, you was pretty pissed off at one point.
What the thing is, once you're in it, you know that you're trapped.
Okay.
Okay. And basically you come to the lines. Okay, it can go one or two ways. I can negotiate with this woman to the best of your ability and pay your money and negotiate with her. Try to keep her kind of calm to where your kids can halfway have a chance of being normal. And thank God they are, because I had a village to actually surround these children. So they're very well raised children. Not everything I like comes from them, but the thing is, for the most part, they're not all fucked up. They're very good, stable, logical, well-adjusted children that love their childhood probably too much. Um, uh, but at a certain point, I got to a point when I actually became MGTOW. I just got tired of female bullshit, because every relation, it doesn't. First you thought, okay, I'm gonna find the next woman. She's gonna be better. I'm gonna find the next woman. She's gonna be better. Find the next. Basically, I find different types of women, different attitudes, different personalities. But guess what? There's always gonna be some female bullshit.
And what do you think the source of that is?
They're women. Okay.
All right.
And
No, but the reason I asked, because I thought it was more than that. Now your statement kind of make me think a little different.
No, in other words, if you're 50, you probably, I don't know how many relationships you have with women, right?
Not well, a lot when I was young, but I've been married 24 years.
You've been 24, even being married. Okay, you've been married 24 years. There's just shit that comes with living with women that you cannot get around.
I'm not agreeing with you online, bro.
Women would tell you, because I have
you're right. You're right. It's a lot, brother.
Women will tell you there's expectations and there's bullshit. I'm not gonna say bullshit, but it's this. Women know they have stuff, and women will tell you there's stuff that goes on in their lives, in their heads, in their psyches, that as you as a husband have to deal with. That's your job. Just like she feels she has to deal with your stuff as a man. They're basically, that's what happens. And if you're going to be in a relationship, I tell guys all the time, if you're in a relationship with a woman, there's certain things that you have to expect. Now, men say, I'll get tired of her coming home, or if she works, whether she works or not, even if she doesn't work, you come home, you walk in, you put your stuff down and take off your shoes. She gonna download on you about what the kids did, what she saw on TV, maybe what a girlfriend said. She gonna do that, because that's a woman. That's what they do. That's what you're there for. Is what it is. And a guy said, well, blah, blah. I said, do you want a woman or not? If you want a relationship with a woman, you need to know how to deal with that skillfully, because it's going to be there. That's part of the relationship you have with a woman. That's one of their requirements, that non-sexual attention that they desire from you. It is what it is. Deal with it. If you get tired of that, you need to not have a woman, not have a relationship with a woman.
Yeah, I can see that some brothers have been dealt some hands that made them feel this way. My life's experience is completely different. Quite a few of my bros, been married, a long time. Some of them married and divorced, and then into second and third marriages sometimes, trying to make this thing work. And I see, I will admit that there's a difficulty in the union, and I will admit that state laws make some of the relationships difficult, but it's not only state laws. It's a part of nature itself that challenges the relationship between the male and female. But I feel personally like that's the beauty of it. But I've seen goddamn where some other people ain't gonna feel like that.
Yeah, well, the thing is that's and in fact I went through that in my esoteric series. That is part of the female psyche. Okay, that's the way she's built. You can't get around that. I don't care. Even the best woman, she can be the nicest, sweetest woman in the world. There's certain requirements that's gonna come with it in a relation with a woman. She's not a robot. She's not a doll. She's a woman. You know, and that's the way it is. So either you want to deal with it or not. I would say if you're going to deal with it, know what you're getting into and deal with it skillfully, so that you have an easier time. You know, the best woman is not easy.
Excuse me 1 second. Moderator, tighten up. Let's keep it clean in the chat, fam. Just keep it clean. The word uses, man. I try not to. When I read back over this, man, I hate looking at some of the stuff that's in there. So just try to keep it clean. Moderators, try to help them keep it a little clean in there. This is a good understanding, bro. As much as I disagree with positioning yourself and creating an ideology around it that keeps it in place, I have to. When I came to understand this, I that's what I wanted to do. Kind of understand where your how this movement or ideology has come into place, and to just get the reasons for it.
And basically, there's always every year or year and a half. There's always what they call a MGTOW war, where the ideas will clash.
Okay, and you say what'd you say every
year to every year and a half there will be a MGTOW war, where the ideas will clash.
And what are these opposites that are clashing?
Whether you should date or not, whether you should MGTOWs, whether you should find a surrogate to have children or not. Because a lot of MGTOWs want children, but outside the reach of the state, because they don't want a woman controlling them or their offspring. So they want to have, say, fly someplace, pay a certain amount of money, and have a surrogate and have their child and bring their child back without the mother. So, some guys still want sex, but they don't want to deal with women. So we have this thing about sex dolls. That's a big thing, which I don't agree with, but to each his own. If that's what gets you through the day.
Hold on, bro. What you say about the sex dolls?
Sex dolls, yeah, well, that's a big thing with MGTOWs, because they don't want to. They're not homosexual. They still want sex, but the thing is, they don't want to deal with the person. They don't want to. They want sex from the woman, but they don't want to deal with the other stuff that comes along with the woman. The sex part, men enjoy, will always enjoy, but the thing is, basically, her coochie comes with a woman, okay, and a woman's personalities and all that kind of stuff that comes along with whatever a woman is, okay. Come along with it. So what guys want is an advanced sex doll to where they can get their needs met. Not have to deal with women, deal with the personalities.
And you were saying that you had a problem with that?
I don't agree with it, because that's not me. Because what's the difference between a sex doll and a vibrator or whatever device that you can use? It's still a device. So we have some guys can get into it. That's fine with them. It's just maybe it's my age that I'd rather that's not for me. And, and I don't have my needs aren't that great to where I need a sex doll. But I'm not mad at people that do. Which is another thing that MGTOWs kind of push amongst each other, which is the sex doll thing. Say, man, if you do that, you do that, okay? But
man, I got to say that's some freaky shit, dude.
Why?
It's the newness of it, man. I'm into like natural stuff. Like I've never been that type of person.
Well, you're
So
married.
yeah, so like the shit is, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm saying it's gotten that part. In other words, this whether you should have a sex doll or you should not have a sex doll, we should have a sex doll versus a rotation, all kinds of stuff. Whether you should, uh, there's always a disagreement, and it kind of pops up. Even to where should MGTOW go be public or not? That was one of the first disagreements. Should MGTOW be public, or should you keep it as a closed ideology?
Oh, so some people, I guess at one point, I'm sure it was underground.
Yeah, basically it was so small that that it was virtually underground.
Okay, so it wasn't because it was intended to be underground. It just was small.
It's on the internet. How underground can it be?
Right,
It's
right.
on
So
YouTube.
now it's all yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's known. Does MGTOW, does the MGTOW ideology and IBMOR, do they have any fears about aggression from society?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the fear.
That don't, like, folks that don't agree with them.
Yeah, with the because well, even some MGTOWs have gotten fired just for
Being that, just for
putting up a video and saying that you're into this movement. They've been fired. They've been people have lost their teaching positions, all kinds of things.
Damn.
Lost businesses, all kinds of stuff behind the moniker because it's so shocking. It is so radical that it shocks people.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you about, what is this? I wrote it down here. Last week we were talking about some statements made. I think we was on Cynthia G, or no, I wasn't on there with you, but it was you, Cynthia G, and Nyla and Taz, I believe. And y'all were talking about there was a question asked, and you were explaining the dying of children or something like that, brother. Can you?
Okay, all right.
Give me the long.
It's real simple. Okay. Cynthia G wants basically black men to get out and fight white supremacy, literally, physically.
Okay.
Okay. Literally, physically.
Okay.
And I said, so what are women supposed to do while black men are out there fighting and dying for white supremacy? And she said, what do you expect us to do? I said, not accept what the white man's giving you, like welfare, whatever it is that you accept. And she says, she said, so if we can't accept welfare or the benefits from white society, what do you expect women and children to do, black women and children to do? I said, starve. If you believe in it, starve.
If you believe in
fighting white supremacy, actual fighting it, okay. Yeah. And the thing is, and you can't get benefits from the dominant society to keep you and your children alive. You got two choices. How much do you believe in it?
Oh,
if I believe in it enough to actually whether I do it or not, I'm not professing this. I want to get this as a disclaimer because I know how people are. Okay, if I'm willing to pick up arms against the greatest assemblage of military force that there ever been on the planet, and go to almost certain death doing that. If you expect me to do it, what are you going to do? You cannot be sucking off white daddy's tip while I'm.
So you saying we have to be willing, if we're going to be a collective.
Yeah,
we're all going to suffer the consequences of war, which is the casualties are death to our women and our children as well.
If you believe in the end of white supremacy that strongly, because you're sending out your father, your brothers, your sons to die. You cannot be at home collecting welfare and food stamps.
That's an active trade. You saying that's like being a traitor?
It's like being a traitor. If you're going to profess this, You have to have skin in the game. As far as I see, why should I be out there on the front line if you're not willing to get off white daddy's tip?
Okay.
Then you don't believe in ending white supremacy.
So that was the greater point.
That was the greater point.
All right.
If it's shocking, it's shocking. Yeah, I said it's supposed to be shocking because I meant it.
Now, I appreciate you not being apologetic about your understandings and sharing it the way you said it.
That's why I meant it. If you profess it, because I didn't even go as far as that. If you profess in white supremacy, you should be the first one picking up the AK, not me.
Who should be the women?
Men with the women. If you believe it that strongly and in white supremacy, you should. Hey,
you're just responding to
no
to Cynthia G. You're just saying that.
If you believe in armed resistance, at some point you will have to pick up that rifle.
Okay, you're talking to everybody.
Everybody.
Okay.
And if you're radical, you sending your sons out there to die, you should be the first one to pick up that rifle. That's what I believe.
Okay. Anybody who feels that way
that feels that way. If you believe in all out this and fighting the white man, you should, because the Panthers did. Those Panther women did not hesitate for picking up that doggone shotgun and be willing to die for it. They did not. Those women that believed in civil rights did not stay at home baking cookies. They were out there in the streets. Okay? If you are preaching it and pushing people to do it, that's what I believe. If you want to get behind it, that's one thing. If you want to lead it, lead it. But the thing is, I need to know you have skin in the game. Personally.
That's powerful. Do you have a military background?
No.
Okay. Where are you at on military activity, period?
Military activity as far as what?
As far as there's this understanding that a lot of people think that black men should join the army, or like I was listening to some of y'all's conversation.
Okay.
Like,
okay. Well, this
and I don't want to intertwine. Like,
it's all right. Okay. It's real simple. It's really simple. And I actually explained this maybe 50 different times. I don't know why it's a hard concept to grasp.
I don't know what you're talking about first.
In other words, it's the Great Faulkner Plan, sending 100,000 of black boys to the military every year so they can learn these skills.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to protect the black community, okay, if you want to protect the black community, okay, and you want to protect them against the dominant society, for lack of a better term, okay, okay, them white boys are out there with paint guns, doing military tactics. They're out in the woods shooting guns. Okay, they're out there training them little boys from the ages of 5 how to shoot clean in fire guns. They take them out in the woods hunting, so they know how to survive in the woods, how to grow foods, how to hunt, how to use knives, all that stuff. They're doing that. Okay, and they're coming out of their pocket to do that. Do we have a similar plan for little black boys that need to defend their society, their communities?
No, I understand.
I mean, I'm gonna ask the question: do we? I mean, as a collective, I'm talking about a few places here or there, because white boys are out there buying guns, collecting guns with whole arsenals, training.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Repeat your question for me.
So, in other words, you already know that you know that there's not only in the military, but it's also paramilitary white folks, right? Alt-right, whatever, all kinds of militias, whatever, right? That are actually actively training, learning how to survive, all that kind of stuff. They are, and they're paying out of their pocket to do that. Do you see a parallel in the black community?
No.
Do you believe that black
guns? No, I don't.
Knives? switchblade.
No, I don't see any kind of parallel that's weaponry. The closest thing that looks anything like military, but it's without weapons, is the Nation of Islam, and that's just in terms of organization.
And basically, the Nation of Islam recruits people coming from where?
A little bit everywhere.
They recruit people coming from the military to train their people.
Okay.
To bring those skills in from the very beginning.
You schooling me here.
No, I mean you check out the people, check out the people actually teaching the skills.
I remember. That's the Nation of Islam is my background. I remember.
Vets,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
World War II vets, Vietnam vets, Korean vets coming to the Nation of Islam and teaching the skills, right?
It's true. I do remember military folks that came home.
Yeah, and they actually the Nation of Islam actually did what? They recruited these guys, brought them in, and paid these guys to do what? Train with the fruit of Islam. They were experts in hand-to-hand combat with weapons, all kinds of stuff. They might not use them, but they're experts in them.
Right.
Nation of Islam was probably some of the best bodyguards you can get because they've been militarily trained by military experts.
That's facts.
True.
Yes.
Yes. So, if you need, as a group, as a whole, as a society, you need these males to have these skills. Where do you get them from? Where do they get them from, and do you pay for it?
Shit, dude, you got me.
In other words, black folks ain't been willing to pay for it. Black folks ain't coalesced the people with the skills to actually train these boys. They don't have programs. They don't have programs to do any of this stuff, do they? As you know, you might have a patchwork here and there, but if you compare, say, the Nation of Islam, and then basically the Nation of Islam only trains a small sector of the fruit of Islam to actually do that. Compare that, the fruit of Islam, to the rest of the black society. Is there a comparison?
No.
So basically, you need if you want to have these kind of skills with people with these kind of skills, and you cannot pay for them. You don't have a system for them. What is the next step? Where do you send them to get
it? From your vantage point, it would be the military.
Military. In other words, a system that already exists, that they can already get into.
Now, the same thing. Since we were talking about the Nation of Islam, they discouraged military involvement, although they took advantage of the military structure. The people that came from the military were able to put a certain amount of training into the Nation of Islam from some of the military training that they had.
From they have. And what do they do that black folks don't? They discourage it, but what do? They train their own people.
Their own people, yeah. There's a constant training.
Do black people train their own people as a group?
Not in that fashion, no.
Not in that fashion.
I know of, no.
Okay. You say that, oh, I don't want them to go in the military because they're gonna be brainwashed. You send them to I'm not gonna cuss. You send them to a freaking white Prussian school system every day. What do you think is going in their heads?
Brainwashing.
So I don't want to be brainwashed in the military, but you send them to a school instead of homeschooling them. So in other words, what sense does that make?
What's the difference?
What's the difference? 90% of military training occurs before you even get to boot camp.
Right. Yeah, the ideology of not going to the military had to do with sacrificing our lives for the rich interests of corporate America, not to sacrifice our bodies for that.
That's true. I agree with you.
Yeah, that was that's the ideology, and that's why it's always discouraged.
What do they do instead?
They train themselves.
They train themselves. Which is the question I asked. Okay, you don't want the black boys to do that, go there and stuff like that. Do you need those people? Either you do or you don't. If you need them, okay, are you willing to pay for them and train them? If you do that, I have basically that blows my argument out of the water. So either you pay for it. I said that either you pay for it or Uncle Sam pays for it. Which one do you want?
I get it. I heard in the chat that one person said they fund the revolution is what she said. That this strategy that some military men, black military men, are talking about is that when you join the army, Uncle Sam is funding the revolution.
They're funding they're funding the training.
The training. Okay.
Now, revolution is revolution is strategic.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to cause a revolt and lose?
Right.
Do you want to walk in? Do you want to start something and lose? With stakes this high? And the fact that it's never happened on a broad scale, that means most black people say no.
Right. Right. Man, this was a lot. I think the audience is getting a whole lot going on in the chat room as I glance up and down at it. I'm sorry I'm not interacting with y'all, but I'm really engaged in what's being said here. Now, the rhetoric, and one more time, going back at the rhetoric, I've heard on the other side, and I guess it goes into the anger that you're talking about, them calling black women apes and all that kind of shit like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? Being on YouTube, a lot of those were black women calling black men apes. That's where it actually started. Okay. A lot of that we're calling you apes and calling you that because they say you hate black women and you guys are apes and this, that, and the other, and we're not gonna have them. We're gonna actually kill all the boy. Yeah, kill all the boy children.
Okay. Yeah. And so is there rhetoric like kill women and shit like that comes out of the MGTOW or IBMOR? That women should die.
Yeah, that comes out of there. Yeah, comes out.
But so and is it acceptable by the whole?
No.
Okay. If you had to say it was a percentage.
As a percentage, I would say if I say a percentage, I say maybe 1 or 2%, maybe at max.
Okay, like a small.
It's always basically it's a small group of people that are really radical. They want to say something really radical, and it doesn't take all it takes is one person to come in and start flooding people's comment section. Yeah, it's normally the same guys with different
names, screen names.
You've been into the year. How many guys? How many people that come in saying really awful stuff in your
right
section? It's not the vast majority. It's like maybe 1 or 2% of people. You block them, you hide them, and they get another screen name, come back saying the same thing.
Right.
I've had women, I've had females that don't like my IBMOR channel, and they've had as many as 10 accounts.
And they'll keep coming back.
They keep coming back. Yeah. My block list is like 250 people.
Right. What's not to like about your IBMOR channel from your own perspective?
Oh, I say controversial stuff, and I'm gonna rub people the wrong way. I have followers. I was just on my women's channel, and I was talking to a young lady that had been following me for like maybe 1.5 years, and we were just talking. She said, I said straight up, I said we used to butt heads, I mean, on a regular basis. We would butt heads. She said, yeah, but I'm still here.
Right. What's the purpose of your women's channel?
I have maybe 10 to 15% female followers on my IBMOR channel, and they don't agree with everything. But the thing is, if they come comment in my male channel, they're gonna get attacked.
Okay, so you created.
created a channel for them. And there's a there's uh the females have different needs, and so I have a women's channel so that the females uh, can actually get their opinion expressed, and for a lot of guys actually hear them express their opinions. And I said that all I said to the women is be honest. If you feel it, be honest about it. So when they come in, they're honest. If you're not, if you're gonna come in with the rhetoric and BS, don't come in here. If this is the way you feel, let it out, and be willing to defend it. Don't just come in and saying a whole bunch of stuff like it's gonna fly. No, why do you feel that way? What happened to you? Why you feel that way? What's your alternative? You get challenged, and some women don't like to get challenged.
Damn. Did you so you're over there teaching that? Because here's what I'm thinking, bro. Like every movement, like even as a Muslim, like the sisters that came in from churches where they had a lot of freedom or whatnot, it's all, you know, the Nation of Islam is still by many people considered pretty radical with regards to the way that it deals with,
because it's ultra conservative.
Yeah, it's ultra conservative, and so there's a lot of pushback and fighting on.
You live in a liberal country and you have an ultra conservative movement,
right?
Yeah,
and so there's a lot of pushback. So, but it works for like the people that join the Nation and they get married. Of course, they got marital problems. The people get, you know, stuff happens there the same way you're saying. Whatever goes on out here goes on in the Nation of Islam. The difference to me has always been the nation's response to it.
You have a structure, and you have a structure, and you have a society that's there to actually mediate those problems. You have a role, and that's what's missing in the modern society right now. There are no more gender roles. There's no forms for people to actually adopt into.
Right. So in
MGTOW, Islam gives you that. Yeah. MGTOW is what?
In MGTOW or IBMOR, it would seem, because you've noticed what the problem is between males and females, that there would be a healing factor that would blend the male and female so that it's appropriate, as opposed to just being like outright upset or with women about what's going on.
Yeah, because IBMOR's kind of morphed in something that's away from MGTOW, that's strictly MGTOW. It's what I found out on my channel, and maybe even on Black Ram's channel.
You said Black Ram?
Black Ram 313. So if you want to look him up, he's actually a Hebrew Israelite.
Oh, okay. Black Ram 313.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Hebrew Israelite, and that actually likes some of the MGTOW principles, because in this society, he says he's a Hebrew Israelite. He's ultra conservative, but he said in this society, what he believes in really doesn't work. So he's of a MGTOW mindset. He has a specific reason for actually following MGTOW. Okay. And I think remember my point. IBMOR itself kind of expanded. So I had a lot of red pill guys that don't claim MGTOW or IBMOR. You have a lot of people that are in what I call I wouldn't call them sort of save yourself black man. In other words, they believe in not or dating the best woman possible. And if it's not the American black woman, then some guys said women that are outside the race. Some guys say black women that are from another country. In other words, that's SYS, being save yourself black man. So those what we call they call them the classic men, or the thinking black man, which a lot of your SYSBM are part of not Cerulins, but Obsidian's group. They have kind of cool SYSBM, save yourself black man.
Okay.
They said The black women have become too liberal, not liberal, or basically too radical,
Okay.
too unwieldy, too hard-headed to actually be dealt with for a traditional man or one that wants to start a traditional family. So you need to find women that are still willing to.
Okay, so that you're saying that dating outside of the race is not out of the question for this group.
You know,
If you're dating at all.
if you're dating at all. And so basically, you have a bigger umbrella. At least in my channel, it's a bigger umbrella.
So, is there anything pro-black about IBMOR?
About IBMOR, well, on my channel, it's all about being pro-black.
Okay, so it is a pro-black ideology.
Mm-hmm.
However,
But it would consider a pro-black man ideology. So.
Man ideology. Now,
and those ideas clash from time to time.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's mature.
Oh yeah. I've got some kickback and feedback about that. So
I'm sure. So it is pro-black, but there's no. The thing is that not to if you're going to be in a relationship, be in a relationship off the grid.
Like for a strict IBMOR, yeah. If you're gonna be in a relationship, yeah, don't sign the contract. Be off the grid. Don't involve yourself in the contract. But the thing is, it's kind of morphed into something that expands a little further than
simply that.
So it's kind of moved away. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of moved further and further away from MGTOW, which a lot of my black MGTOWs don't like. You're moving too far away from the message, brother. It is what it is. My channel's there to fill the needs of black men, no matter where they are. So in other words, a lot of times I get a kickback from, if you're going to be in a relationship, this is how you do it. If you understand women, this is how you do it. If you want to get married, this is what you need to look for. This is courting. This is all kinds of questions that I get as far as that. So I get that all the time. If you're going to have a mate, okay, this is how you need to understand her. I even have I think one of my more popular series was the Octane series, which is a socioeconomic status of 5 socioeconomic levels of women, and where you are, which woman you pick in either one of these economic levels would depend on where you are, what you have, and what you're willing to put up with. So there's a lot of different things. In fact, Ron Wills, who's a relationship coach, we work together a lot.
He has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, Ron Wills. Yeah,
I'm subscribed to him. Yeah.
So I get a lot of feedback from dating coaches and relationship coaches saying that this stuff is actually spot on. So
interesting. So the women the women's channel, right? Is it possible that the women who listen to you could blend with the men who listen to you and have a cohesive type of relationship? Not that you're matchmaking.
I've had men that would like to. I don't know what they do on the outside, okay? Because I've on the women's channel and the men's channel. Okay, if you gonna hook up, do it offline. Okay.
Yeah.
So what they do?
But my point.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but yeah, they could. And these are the women that are probably most likely or more available to that kind of thinking. Like Kendra D's, like she's a Sunni Muslim, so she was married for 20 years before her husband died.
Oh, okay.
So
I just started listening to her.
Yeah, so she's originally part of my women's channel.
Okay,
that's how she got started.
Okay, so you have a network of folks that work with you. Because I see you got a pretty big channel.
Yeah, probably it's actually bigger than it was intended.
Okay. Okay. Is that a plus or is it or minus?
Both.
Too much goddamn attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Do you work for yourself or you work for somebody else?
I used to work for somebody else, so I'm
I
retired.
agree. Say how you stay away from them with this kind of talk.
Well, I'm retired now, so it doesn't matter.
So you good. Yeah, you good to go.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of people I used to work with actually part of the channel, so they're actually subscribers.
So they appreciated the message too.
Mm-hmm.
A part of this. Yeah, I'm man. This was I would just say that this was a really interesting interview.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm mostly satisfied with the responses. Some I just know you can't understand everything in a night. So I'm left to just appreciate the discussion. I really appreciated your time. And I
Mm-hmm.
want you to share with if somebody wanted to know about the movement, so just so that they're educated about it. One thing really quickly was that video that you shared with
Mm-hmm.
me. That was like a quick 13-minute lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of written material, not that I promote it, but if somebody wanted to know how to what books did you read to find all of this stuff out? How'd you gather all of this information?
Oh, it depends on which. Okay, I always divide books into kind of sectors of knowledge. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's books on feminism you could read. There's books on civilizational structure that you probably need to have. You want to know about demographics. There's a couple of books that you can read. Um,
Is that on your channel or do you have a
I do
website?
have. I did on my channel. I do have. I do have a book list. I think it's like maybe is it my 10 books that I would read. That
On
they're
your
all
community? Is
huh?
it
Yeah.
on your community channel?
It's on my it's on my IBMOR, my BGS IBMOR channel. Just type in BGS IBMOR and book list, it'll pop up.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just depends on what you want to know. If it's about geopolitics, which I touch on, there's different books you need to read. If it's on like I said, if
Oh,
it's
okay. I
on
see.
economics, you have to read a different set of books. So it's not. I couldn't suggest one set of books that you would read to actually know what I know. It depends. People ask me what should I read. I said, what do you want to know? Then we can actually go to what book you should read or where you should start. If you want to
Right.
start with Gnosticism, I would say start with the book that actually changed me was the evolution and the origin and evolution of religion by Albert Churchward,
Mm-hmm.
because he goes to the symbols from being a pygmy all the way to Islam, and he actually tracks the symbols, the religious symbols, and the dates and what was going on at the time, and the religions actually promote them because the symbols are still here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there's then the evolution of these symbols are the evolution of religious thought. So I would start that if we want to get into Gnosticism.
Yeah.
Stolen Legacy is also a good book if you want to get into
Oh yeah.
Gnosticism.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
read that one.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably, man, if you don't mind, I'm definitely going to keep in touch with you. It just looked like you've been a prior researcher over half your life. It sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's big stuff. So I dropped your link for the my top 10 book list in there
Okay,
just so
yeah,
people can have it.
yeah. I get asked that all the time. I just gave him 10. I probably could give him 50, but I just gave him 10.
Right. So what's the latest thing you've studied, just out of curiosity?
Oh, what am I?
The last book you picked up.
Last book I picked up. There's probably several. There's several I need to read. I need to read Man Not by Dr. Curry.
You said
Uh,
man not?
Man Not, yeah,
Okay.
by Dr. Curry.
Okay.
Um, what am I actually working on right now? Actually, I need to go back and reread Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. That actually goes through geopolitics and the building of the Western civilization.
Mm,
Actually, that's the Bible that they're still running off of 60 years after you wrote it. They're still running off the his principles.
okay.
That's what basically they hired Carol Quigley to actually actually write them a manual of Western civilization for them to go by. And then right after he wrote it, they published like 2,000 copies and broke the plates because they didn't want that book distributed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's up until the internet age, it's been pretty much a legend for the most part.
Right.
But if you want to know Western civilization, that's the book to read. Um,
Good stuff.
there's if you want to know about China, then you always read Kissinger's book on China. It
Mhm.
just it depends. If you want to know about what's going to happen in the future, I would suggest the Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab, coming out of the World Economic Forum. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, there it is. If you want to know, get if you want, well, I need to read it myself, but The Singularity by Kurzweil is another book. If you want to know where this tech revolution is going and
Mhm.
accelerating to where they're headed, there's
Mhm.
lots of little books that you possibly could read depending on what you want to know.
Yeah, no, you just dropped quite a bit right there, bro.
Mhm. If I need to read Dr. Anderson's 100 Questions, that just came out. So
Yeah, I still got to get the big book that he has, the main one.
Black Labor, White Wealth.
Yeah, I think it's Black Labor, White Wealth, and
Mhm.
that's an expensive book.
It basically, you can get all. He has a package. You can get all of his books and a DVD for $100.
Oh, okay. No, that's good. No, he's a
He has a package.
pretty powerful teacher.
Hmm.
Last question, I believe. I hope this is the last question. I saw.
Okay, well, keep going. If you want, got more questions, keep going.
I hope. Well, somebody said something about segregation just now in the
What about
chat.
it?
Where are you with, personally on separation
Yeah.
or integration?
Okay. That's a big topic, but I believe in this country, separation or segregation is impossible
Okay, but
because the since 1945 basically the policy of the United States is to assimilate the Negro by any means necessary.
give me the idealistic answer. You're giving me the what you think is possible
And no,
answer.
it's possible. No, they're doing it. We're about halfway through the process.
What separation?
No, assimilation.
No, what I mean is with the question that I asked, separation versus integration. What do you think would be the better solution for in order to be
I would say separation. Leave. If you want to be black, leave the country. If you want your kids to be black, leave the country.
and go where?
To the continent where there's black people, or Colombia where there's black people, or Brazil where there's black people.
And you think somewhere on the continent that we could live in peace as African Americans?
You go back and blend in. You won't be an African American. You'll be whatever you are.
So we could not create our own culture.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Why would you?
Do you think that in America, if same thing about the North separating from the South kind of argument or discussion? If they said, listen, if blacks got together and said we want to separate, could we start out with 2 or 3 of these states to set off an example? You see that as an impossibility?
It's an impossibility. What states and who's going to give them up?
You heard of Jared Thomas? What's his name? Jared
Taylor.
Jared Taylor.
Yeah.
He thinks that's pretty possible do too. I don't know how real that is. I know that's something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that was the only solution to separation, either here or on the continent, like you said.
Do you okay?
And this is all it's ideology.
I'm gonna ask a question back to them.
Mhm.
After 500 years of contact with white folks, do you really think they're gonna leave you alone?
I really don't.
Look at the Native Americans. Did they leave them alone?
You know, I don't think that they're going to leave us alone.
The Native Americans fought them from 1501 to 1980.
Right.
For 480 years, they fought them. And the only Supreme Court act told the United States to leave them alone was enough. After 400 years, wiping out 97% of them. Supreme Court told them to leave the United States to leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
It was enough.
Mm.
And they're still protesting it now. If you want to know where you could be, who you could have been, look at the Native Americans. Because the policy of the since 1932 of the Native, since before that, was kill the Indian but save the man. And I say the same thing. The policy of the United States is probably kill the Negro but save the man. In other words, assimilate him.
Mm.
So if you really believe that the white folks are going to give you 3 states and leave you alone, you know, go for it.
You know, it's not a ideal that's been constantly presented as the only solution for us is to separate in terms of races, because our cultures are so naturally different. And
yeah, there's only been 3 policies for the United States toward the black man or the black people.
Talk about it.
Deportation, and they tried it in the 1820s. They tried it in the 1860s. They even tried it in the 1920s with Garvey. Didn't work. Okay. Extermination. That's what your eugenics was about. And the only reason that it didn't go through is because, guess what? Hitler beat you to it. Beat them to it. The same amount of folks that Hitler killed in Germany is the same amount of black folks who are in the United States. The Fabian socialist said,
so you think that's something of the past? You don't think that that's going on?
No. They decided not to. In fact, the Native Americans, the Fabian socialists decided the same thing. They said wholesale genocide on the continent of the United States was not an ideal situation. So they assimilated the Native Americans first. Taking by doing what? Taking them away from their parents and putting them into schools.
Okay.
So the assimilation process, right after 1945, guess what they started? What's the first thing they did before they did anything? They integrated the armed forces to see if it was viable. And what's the second thing they did? Started integrating the what?
I don't have the answer.
Schools.
Okay. Okay.
Started integrating the schools.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they started admixing. What are we doing now? What do you see on TV?
The same thing.
Admixing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the last stage.
And so, and what's the last stage that leads to where?
To basically you're for the most part your culture disappearing and becoming American.
And
how many Indian tribes can you name that are viable?
You see this as something that will be successful?
If the United States has its still is contiguous, yeah, I do think so, because it's basically you've been brainwashed already. I hear it all the time.
No, I get it, but in terms of, I'm just asking you, practically, you believe is something that will be successful, and then I'm gonna ask you, gnostically, is it something that you believe that we'll be successful?
Admixture is natural. Okay. The only reason you haven't admixed already is because you've been forcibly separated. And
Okay.
so basically what they wanted to do was because they didn't really want you here. They wanted this to be a white country. You built it. They cleared out the Indians. They built up the country with black folks, and they believed after the Haitian Revolution, they believed that that all the black folks that they bred, because most of the black folks here were not shipped over here to the United States. They were actually bred. There was only 400,000 black folks when Great Britain ended the international slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
You could ship anymore in, but so the last 10 years that they gave them dispensation of 10 years to ship in females. So 95% so most of your females got shipped in after 1783, 1783
Mm-hmm.
to be breeders. So you went from 1780, you had 400,000 black folks. By 1865, when they freed you, had 4 million. 90% of black folks, black slaves were bred.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't shipped not to the United States. Everybody else, like the islands and Brazil, they were shipped in. But after 1783, the vast majority of black folks were actually bred.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it took all them years to build. So what's the light at the end of the tunnel for black people?
As a culture?
Yep.
The light at the end of the tunnel?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the good news?
The good news?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna let you live.
Damn. That's it?
Which would you rather?
Well, I want to live for sure. I'm trying to see if is in your mind, is there any, and I asked this of a lot of people that I'm in conversation with. You know, the Christians have an ideology, and God is going to come back and save us, and Allah is going to come back and save the Muslims. And what is it for every?
If it depends on what you want to do. If you want to be, if the vast majority of black folks want to be unabashedly black, you need to take your kids out of the school. You just need to stop the brainwashing process. You need to brainwash your own children in your own culture.
Right. So do you think that we will eventually adopt that understanding and survive?
No.
So that our culture will survive?
No.
Why not?
Because you're 90% brainwashed already. You believe in the American way. Send your kids to school. You work with white folks. You believe in upgrading yourself and moving to white neighborhoods. You're already brainwashed.
So, in terms of your work, your life's purpose right now, would it be to? Are we just existing, like in your opinion?
In the United States?
Yeah. Well. Let's start with the United States, but anywhere.
The continent will be upgraded and free within 50 years. With the vast majority of black folks, and it was my mission in life. That's going to happen already.
So we should be trying to go there then.
And I would suggest that.
Yeah, you did earlier. You actually did. But
the vast majority of black folks do not want to leave here. So,
okay.
So the thing is, and that's what Sherwin said. Do you want to still be black in the United States? You want your children to be black and your grandchildren to be black in the United States? Then you need to do something right now. If you do not, I liken it to a snake swallowing its prey. You're halfway in. What happens when the tail goes in?
Oh, you done?
You're done.
Yeah.
How much of the animal does a snake have to swallow before you're done?
I don't know.
I would say more than half, because you're going to suffocate after that. You're already in. You won't be able to back out.
It's going to break you all the way down.
You're going to get sucked in because you don't have anything to fight with. You're basically done. Okay.
Yeah.
And the stuff that because every time I always listen for when I actually talk to people, what I listen for certain things, what they say, what they believe in, and I said, okay, basically we're done. In my opinion, we're done. The thing is, what I'm saying is, yeah, I would say the millennials don't come up and actually reverse this. I doubt disease will actually start with the millennials are already admixing. They're already admixing, probably not to the rate that they should be. I say 10 to 12% of millennials are already going to admix, maybe even more.
You said at the rate they should be.
Huh?
You said probably not at the rate they should be.
According to the plan of what the dominant society wants. They probably want more people to admix. That's probably why they're you heard of the movie Gentrified?
No.
Right? Okay.
No.
The reason that the gentrification of your black neighborhoods is not for economics.
Okay.
Say Detroit. There's nothing in Detroit that do actually gentrify. Okay. Chicago, some of them neighborhoods been that way for a long time. It's not about money.
Okay.
Memphis, Nashville, all these other little black groupings that really don't have any economic, for the most part, don't have any economic value. Okay. Why are they pouring all this money in to actually build these places up and actually force black people out of them? And where do they go? Black folks only have one place to go. They have to mix in with poor white folks.
Right.
So you're going to have, so basically they're going to regroup the United States city by city by class, economic class, and not race. They're going to, because white folks don't want to mix with you either. So basically the United States, you're going to mix. How are they going to do that? You're going to be living in the same neighborhood. So you have to live next door to each other, go to the same schools, same stores, and little Sue's, little Becky, and little Jamal gonna sit right next to each other. And what is the biggest factor in dating and mating? It's called proximity.
Yeah, I heard you say that before, and it makes a lot of sense actually.
And if you break up the black neighborhoods and force people to mix, guess what's going to happen? They're going to mix. And it doesn't have to be Becky. It could be Maria. It could be Suleen. It could be anybody. Thing is, you're going to mix, and they're going to facilitate the mixing. So if it's not you as a boomer, which is only about maybe less than 3%, X is a little bit more. And millennials are going to be 10 to 11%. By the time you get the disease, it's going to be right around 30.
So one more time, like I'm trying to figure out, like, here's a question I've been asking for people who are not faith-based on anything and no belief that in a power that can change things around, that can force us to change things, or that can overcome the desires of those who currently seem to be in charge. I know what we hope and work for. What is it that you work and hope for in terms of the black community?
The black community,
especially as a pro-black, because you're
talking about in the United States,
wherever. Like if you're here, you live here, right?
Yeah. So,
like, what is your hope for the African American?
The African Americans is decide what you want and actually go for it. If you really don't want to fight for your community, fight for your blackness, go ahead and save yourself some headache.
Well,
go ahead and assimilate. If you want to fight for it, then you need to get your kids out of the schools. You need to you need to understand the process that you're going through and actually work against it.
Okay. And is that what you teach as a because I agree with what you just said too. Is that what you're doing as a way to combat the final death blow to the black community?
I'm teaching black folks to think. The group that actually follow me, and originally I thought it would be no more than 500 people. Okay, it's like the channel was actually, the way it was built is it was built to be small, interact with a small number of people. Okay. that really wanted to get in depth and really wanted to understand. It's kind of ballooned to like 25,000. Okay, it wasn't intended, but what my whole channel is not about convincing you into doing anything. It's changing your worldview so you actually think like the people on top think. Okay.
Okay.
This is, in other words, this is the policy. This is the objective, and these are the policies that actually fulfill that objective, and these are the places where they come from.
Okay.
So if you can follow these group of people as a group, not as individuals, read certain publications, and not get emotional about it, you can kind of figure out what policies they're trying to implement, and basically you can figure out where you fit in those policies. Because policy is going to come down because
So
you have no control over them.
Right. And so your belief is that we have to fit in. We can't there's no way to combat what's going on.
You can combat it. The best way to counter a move is to do what? Figure out what the move is, right? If you don't understand the move, you can't counter it, can you?
Right. No, you can't.
So in other words, the only way you can counter a move is to know why the move is being made and what direction the person that's doing the move wants to go, and you counter it. So in other words, he's trying to get you to push you over here, and you figure out a way, okay, I can't stop him from trying to push me over there, so I'm gonna actually parry him and go a different direction that he doesn't understand. In other words, and say if I'm getting pushed out of the middle of Chicago, as a group, I need to pick up and move to the outskirts and reform my community there with his money.
Right.
Because he's thinking he's going to push me out into a white enclave, and I'm going to mix in, or I'm going to be poor. But I can actually take the whole enclave up, the whole black community up, move it out into the enclave, and set up homeschools, set up community gardens, set up what is it? Rites of passage, all the little things that I need to set up as a community. But the thing is, he's going to pay me to move out into the community, out of my sector, because he don't want us there as a political block. How can I can't stop him from doing it. How can I use what he's doing to my advantage? But you have to understand what he wants and where he's trying to push you.
Okay.
So when he pushes you there, then you can counter him. So in other words, he's going to push me this way. I'm going to grab him by his shirt and I'm going to flip him.
With you having this understanding, and you and others, like there's a lot of people with parts of this understanding. How is it that you guys don't think we will beat this with you understanding as much as you understand?
The thing is,
it's no way, dude. It's no way. That see,
why is it no way?
A lot of y'all.
No, it's not. It's not.
You don't think it is?
If you have only like 1 or 2%, is that going to move the other 98%?
Well, how many you think you need to move the folks? How many people do you think run this that we're currently in, this matrix?
That run it, that actually direct
that actually seed the mind of the people that well, let me say this, they actually call the shots, that have the knowledge to know how to move all of the American lives.
I would say about 10%.
Right. So we don't need 90% of us.
Yeah, you don't. If we wouldn't, if we were in control of it, right? What are you countering?
So you're saying when they started, they had some kind of big dominant number? I don't think they had a dominant number either.
They're in control of the system. Who hires you?
The system
does,
and it's
what media messages do you get?
Same system.
Who teaches your children?
Same system. It's a complete domination, but I'm saying that you're able to counteract it.
You
If
can.
you're one person and you got 25,000 people listening.
But how many people were going to
5 or 10% probably.
If 5 or 10%.
But then you got somebody else on another site doing the same thing.
Even if you did,
okay,
you're still sending your kids where?
Well, not all of them. A lot of people are homeschooled. Like you don't see everything changing.
It basically, it's not. It basically, if you have done this, I would say you started this back in 1960. Yeah.
Okay, you saying
how do you reprogram 40 million people? And how long does that take?
I'm gonna go to Cerulean. Cerulean says it's going to be about. I heard them talk about 6-7 generations.
Yeah, if you can start the momentum now, if you can start it now, I mean now,
right?
In a big enough scale, you can start it now. You can do it, but do you have that kind of scale right now?
I think we do.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I told Cerulean and Angry Man, I said, that's why I love you guys, because y'all believe.
Okay.
I'm not one of those.
You're not one of, okay.
I'm not one of those.
What does Gnosticism do for you? Like I'm trying to figure out, like, is that just information?
No, you see the universe as it is.
But you can't do anything. You can't change it.
You work with it. You can't change the universe. You work with it.
To change your position in it.
You can change your position in it. Yeah, you can work with it. If you know how the universe works, you possibly could levitate. But you have to know how to work with it. You can't work against it. You have to work with it. You have to know how to work with it. The thing is, how many people know enough to how to work with it? I don't see, if you see people, how many black folks are actually homeschooling their kids? 100,000 maybe?
Well, I can tell you I'm not. I know I'm not, so I can't speak high and mighty about it.
And then again, what neighborhoods do you live in? Those people that do, where do they live? They live in all black communities?
Well, no, in Maryland, there's quite a few homeschoolers, but it's when you compare it to the whole, it's very small and by percentage. But it's bigger, but it's bigger than it's ever been. Like there are more people attracted to homeschooling now than I've ever seen.
There will be, and basically in the future there will be more, because most schooling probably will come from home, and not the brick and mortar schools will probably die within 20 years, but that'll be too late for us.
Okay.
Because the Z's are the pivotal generation. If you can get to the Z's, you can change them to where they can be pro-black. I mean, righteously pro-black. You can basically turn the tide.
And that's that 6-7 generations.
The Z's are 4. The boomers are 1. 1945. The boomers.
Oh, you mean starting from then?
Yeah. The boomers are number 1, all right, as far as assimilation. Boomers are number 1. X's are number 2. Millennials are 3. You got Z's. That's 4. Okay, that's the pivotal generation.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get to them, you can make them pro-black. You can start with them. You can change it. How many people are willing to change the Z's to where they actually reverse? And that's going to be hard, because you have the whole system fighting you at the same time. This is not a level playing field. This is not a blank slate. You will get resistance. If they see enough people doing the same thing, you will get resistance, because you're fighting a dominant society policy. You're going to get resistance. It's not going to be easy. It's not like we're going to just decide to do something. This never happened.
Bro, this is one of the most powerful conversations I had on here in a long time. Wow. This was good. I'm overwhelmed by the information.
Well, I just hooked you up to a fire hose. Okay. And basically, I cannot change somebody's worldview in an hour. That you have to do that yourself. And basically, the people that have been with me since my day ones, they've already changed their worldview. Okay, they already understand. I got a splinter group called the Black Brain Trust. Okay, they go over the technical side of this stuff, whereas economics, automation, geopolitics, they do that like 6 days a week. I think they should be. I think they should concentrate on recorded videos rather than hangouts, but that's the way they do things. Okay, so basically, I had breakouts from people that actually that came from my subs. So I got breakouts all over the place. But the thing is, you're basically you're fighting forces that are much bigger than you, and it's going to take a humongous effort to actually change it, because you're not just you fighting assimilation process by the dominant society. You're fighting a technological wave that you can't or don't understand, that nobody understands where it's going. I mean, I do mean nobody
And
understands
so,
where it's going. You're fighting the United States trying to keep itself as a dominant power right now, and they're not going to be easy to contend with, especially dissension inside their borders. So you're
right.
going to have all this stuff to fight at the same time. It's not going to be easy. If you're going to, if you want to change this, you got to be committed. I mean, really committed. Like Sherwin said, it's going to take really basically a group commitment, a big group commitment. It can't be small. It can't be. I'm going to change it. Start with 1 or 2% here, and the next generation is going to increase. That's not going to work. It's too late for that. You're you're the mouse inside of the snake's mouth, and you're halfway in. Okay, you're going to have to fight like hell to get out,
Right. Yeah.
because
No,
everything's working against you.
no, and I get it. And were it not for my faith, I would bow down and bow out, bro. I really would.
What?
I just don't think that we're like, I understand that we are without certain power, but just like you don't know exactly who is in control of stuff when it comes, you don't know who's behind the door calling all of the shots for what you're saying is going on right now. You don't know that, like, we have help too.
Okay.
You just don't, like, you're a part of the help. I'm a part of the help, and there's many people on YouTube that's a part of the help. And I think we're not able to see how this plan is all going to be put together, probably because we're not supposed to see it all right now.
Okay.
And I'm saying, I think that we're not counting the wisdom of our ancestors.
Okay.
Put things in motion for us, and we're kind of relying on our own senses, and we can't see it, and thus many of us have lost hope online.
If you're gonna stay here, I encourage that. If you're gonna stay here, I encourage that.
Roof.
Hey, I told Sharuna, Sharuna is a believer.
Okay.
He's a believer.
So how do you do it, bro? What you're saying is you just accepting of the information.
I'm accepting of the information. Okay.
Yeah, because you said, because you just now said that if I'm going to stay here, you encourage faith, kind of sort of.
Because if you believe, you have to believe it. Okay, because that's the only chance that you have. If you're gonna be here and be black, it's the only chance you got. So if you're gonna be here, you better believe it, and believe it wholeheartedly.
You got that shit right.
So I encourage. So you asked me, what do I believe?
Yes. How do
I'm
you?
answering you honestly. I'm telling you honestly how I believe.
Okay.
But I still encourage people that believe. I'm not saying that you shouldn't fight. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do what's necessary. I even tell you how to do it, to the best of my ability. But the thing is,
what makes you, and I'm not like, it's all about freedom right here. I'm saying, how do you, I'm trying to figure out.
In other words, where do you think the 2/3 policy came from that Cerulli came up with? It's
Go
not
ahead
about.
and inform me. I
It's not.
don't want to guess.
It's not about killing people or eliminating people. 2/3 of black folks already been eliminated. They're already been brainwashed uh, uh, beyond salvation. They've been brainwashed.
Yeah, that's according to Cerulean
You,
and
you don't.
maybe
You don't.
some others.
You don't
I've
want to.
heard this 2/3 philosophy
You
before.
don't. You don't even know what you want to know what the conscious community thinks. You don't even want to know.
No, I
Because
do want to know.
nah, I'm not gonna say it on the air because it'll discourage people. Okay, they think 2/3 is too conservative. They think it's more.
Explain clearly. I think I got a little bit lost. We're talking about 2/3 of the population that's not going to make it.
The black population has already been assimilated too far to actually reach them. You can't reach them. They're not going to accept it. They're not going to do what's necessary to save what we think of as the black community. They're too far gone.
Yeah, I heard this argument before in a number of different ways, in a number of different teachings. It exists everywhere.
In
This
fact,
it's
and the numbers.
mathematics and science too. So I'm saying that I feel where you're coming from, but I'm saying in terms of like what do you work for every day if you don't? That's why I asked you what was the light at the end of the tunnel for.
So I work for black people to open their eyes and make a decision one way or the other. In other words, if you be informed.
Got you.
If you
and so with that information, okay.
So you can see clearly what's coming at you and what you have to work for or against. So you can make a decision. If you're gonna stay here, you need to know what's coming at you.
Right.
If you're gonna leave, then you need to have an informed decision on why you should leave.
So you're just the truth then.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a Gnostic. Gnostic means that.
Okay.
To know.
Okay. And you make decisions based on the facts given.
On the facts given, one way or the
All
other.
Right. I don't even have to. I understand what your point of view is. This was awesome, bro. We gonna have to chop it up some more later on something else. I want to get into something else now because I like the way you present your facts.
Yeah, that's how come I have 8-hour hangouts just for that, because of that.
Oh, that's what you be doing over there?
Well, it started with just me, but now actually hangouts are actually for people to actually get there and chop it up and have a good time. And if we talk, if we talk politics, we talk politics. I remember one time I did an astrological readings for like 3 hours on one of my hangouts, just for 3 hours, because that's what.
What were you reading?
I was just people giving me their signs and maybe their 3 parts of their signs, and I'm giving them a template of what kind of person they probably are. And that's what I was doing for like 3 hours.
Powerful.
So it depends.
Nah, brother, you occupy a nice space in the community, man. Definitely got the gift. It's a serious gift. You got the presentation and everything. You got the tone and all of that to go along with it. I think it's good energy. As much as people might want to oppose.
Like I said, people that oppose, it's like, okay. That's why I always say the channel's built for 500 people. If you don't like it, even the people, I actually banned some people and thought for a year. And I took them off the ban list to see where they were. They pop up the next video. They're still there.
Oh, okay.
And they don't like me. I said, why are you still here? You don't like me. I always say, I'm serious when I say half my subs probably do not like me.
Did you have a regular life, man?
A regular life like what?
Like when you was you raised like the average African American person?
In a Baptist Christian church. My mother was raised as a sharecropper, and we struggled. I was a poor kid. I happened to have a fairly high IQ, so when I was like 9 years old, they bused me to the white folks.
Okay.
So,
okay. Oh, okay. I got you.
So I was raised in the ghetto just like everybody else. because after I had to get back on the bus and head back to the ghetto.
Okay.
So I don't know if that I wasn't raised in the suburbs. If that's what you're asking, no. I wasn't raised in a closed community with
Yeah. Did you
plastic people. No, I wasn't raised that way. I had to learn this on my own.
did you grow up? I mean, like you grew up at the club, you drink. Did you get high with everybody else?
Uh, uh, since I'm probably a loner, I had to discover that about myself. Clubbing is I've clubbed, I've drank, but that's really not my thing.
Okay.
I don't particularly like crowds.
Okay. You
And,
discovered that kind of early for
yeah,
yourself.
I don't like crowds, and me drinking and being high is a waste on me. Okay.
That's why you got this hood, right? That your avatar,
Oh, it's a hood. That's actually what's his name?
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought that
But
was the loner. I thought that was the loner kind
no,
of.
but I mean it just fit. So
Okay.
that's the that the hoodie and the dark face actually fit because that's the dark wisdom that's covered. So
Okay.
yeah.
You had the Grim Reaper up in there.
Say what?
You had the Grim Reaper up in there.
No,
I'm
the
just
Grim
messing.
Reaper's coming from the white folks right now.
I'm
So
just messing with you, bro.
mm.
I'm just messing
And
around.
some people think I am. So who knows?
Nah, I don't see that at all. This was more than excellent, bro. You done gave me more than a whole bunch of information.
All right.
Everybody was waiting for. I got a lot of positive feedback just by mentioning that you were coming on.
Okay.
So I say keep doing what you're doing, bro. Spread your truth,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be over there checking you out from time to time and getting some of that information, bro.
Yeah, that's like I didn't want to do it like adversarial format.
Yeah. I don't like too much adversarial.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people. Because what my views are not conventional, and it's not going to feel right to the vast majority of people, and people react on feeling. They don't hear what I say, but they feel that it's wrong.
Yeah. Like I know that I was raised to accept, culturally a certain thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
broke away from that little while ago so that I realized I wasn't learning new things because of that, being tied into a social construct, a construct, a
Mm-hmm.
matrix that
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. So I'm able to hear things and not get so emotional about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't immediately start attacking it and insulting it.
Yeah. I had to beat my subs down. So I had to beat my subs down with the truth. So they're tame right now. But before that, yeah, they used to challenge everything I said. So
Right. Now this is good. AM1 says you sound right, and asking me a question. He sounds right. Gab Talk Media. Yeah, he
okay.
sounds like he got some good information, bruh. But I'm not easily broken. But information is information. I do with it what I will.
That's
And
all it is.
yeah. I'm just like BGS without all of the information. But in terms of my square, I stand on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's how it is. But in terms of learning, I've learned a whole lot. I tell you that from this conversation. So
yeah, Sruna actually said something I agree with. He said, I don't tell you what to think. I'm just trying to teach you how to think.
yeah, I like that too. And I shit. The more you share with me, that's kind of what happens.
Oh yeah, basically we were talking about technology last Saturday at the very beginning of the show, and basically, a whole lot of people don't agree with me. But the thing is, look at the information, see where it's going, because racism and white supremacy going forward with, I say, 3 generations is going to be the least of your problems. Probably 2 generations is going to be the least of your problems because you're at the elbow of the singularity. Look up the singularity and the elbow of the singularity. You'll find out what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
These are going to be the least of your problems.
You want to go? You want to give me that real quick so I know.
The singularity is when, if you look at Kurzweil's book, or you actually look up the singularity on YouTube, he actually talks about it. It's when all the technologies blend and come together in a singularity, and once they do, they're going to alter your physical environment, even your reality.
Okay.
And when basically when they can when the computer information technology, which is computers, material science, and biotech all meet, they're going to alter what you think of as reality,
I
because
see it.
they can change your physical reality. They can change your environment. They can also change your biology all at the same time.
Right. I can see it.
Mm-hmm. It's already there.
I see exactly what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying. I saw it almost as soon as you said it.
Yeah.
Interesting, bro. I'm gonna keep tabs.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna keep tabs. Do you have any place where people can support you, donate to you? All that
You
kind
go
of
to the page, my BGSIBMOR channel. My Patreon's up there for people that want to donate. If you're on a live chat, you can support under super chat. But the first thing I actually said when people asked me that when I first started the channel, they said, "What do you want?" I said, "I have nothing to sell. I'm not trying to sell anything.
Okay.
If you donate, you donate. If you don't, you don't. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
not here. I'm not. Some people, and I agree with that. Say you or Angry Man or Kevin Samuel or Obsidian. Okay, I've been in the community for a long time. We don't support our prophets. Okay, I believe in people supporting your prophets, your thinkers, the people that are actually giving you information, because they need to be supported. Too many of our people have actually died poor and penniless, and it gave their lives to the folks. I don't believe in that. I believe that people should support you. I don't ask for it, but I suggest that people support other folks. Just because I don't ask for it, that's personal to me. Okay. Because I trust and believe I could get paid for this. I could get paid lots for this. Just the information that I've acquired. But the thing is, I don't do it because black folks beg for what they need and pay for what they want. And that's the way it is. If you want black folks to have something that they need, you better give it to them. So that's what I've done.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't really promote my channel. Okay, most people that found me, they found me for whatever, however means.
Yeah. Shout out to Lowcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to Lowcast.
However people find me, they find me. I believe my spiritual teacher says he never advertised, he never promoted himself. He said people should. He said that the universe should guide people that want to know to him, and that's what it did. I believe in that myself. People that really want to know what I have to offer will find me, and those that won't or won't. I'll lose sleep over that. So when people say, "Well, I don't know if I'm with you," I say, "Good, then I'm not the person for you. Go find your truth."
Without a problem. And that's exactly how I do it, bro. Like, I don't find your truth. It's not gonna. I don't put myself into a place where I think I know the outcome or that I have the understanding for you. I have what I have, and if you can use it, you use it.
So that's it.
Yeah, and I definitely I'm going to do that with respect to what I learned tonight. I feel like I grew a lot in terms of something that I knew nothing about, and now I feel like I can conversate. I really can have a conversation with people.
You have a stepping stone.
Yeah.
You
laid the foundation really well.
Yeah, I'm just a key master. I just open the door.
Yeah,
that's all I do.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, brother BGS, man, I appreciate it, man. I definitely will be staying in contact, bro.
All right, bro. You go to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go spend some time with my wife, man.
All right.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks to the listening audience. Definitely, if you like what you heard tonight, subscribe to brother BGS. You got a ton of videos over there.
Yeah, over 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, ton of videos over there. Brother has dropped his link. Super Triz dropped his link in here several times. Crew just dropped it again. Check him out and lend a brother your support in whatever ways that you can. And subscribe to this channel. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. And
if you want to support, if you really want to support me, take the information and use it. Don't just sit on it. Use it.
There we go. There we go. And most people are saying great, great interview and whatnot, and peace and all that.
All
So,
right.
and greetings to you, brother, and I'll see you again soon.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.